Obviously, we have to get to the horrific story that happened yesterday. I'm sure you know what happened already, but an 18-year-old gunman opened fire yesterday at a Texas elementary school. He killed, last time I checked, it was 19 children. It may be more now, and I believe 2 adults as well. Finally, the attacker was killed by law enforcement. The hideousness, the horror of the crime speaks for itself. My only hot take on this, I don't have a hot take. That's my hot take. My hot take is I don't have a hot take. My hot take is the reflexive political posturing that happened within minutes of this news breaking is so revolting that I just refuse to engage in it. And it plays out in the predictable way that happens every time there is a shooting event. If the shooter is white, it's all about white supremacy. If the shooter is not white, as in this case, it's all about gun control, and you have all the usual suspects immediately rehearsing their same points, their same either sincere or more frequently feigned outrage about the lack of gun control policies in this country. They never propose anything in particular because none of the policies that they have proposed would have stopped any of these shootings. Historically speaking, obviously more facts will come out about this one, but that's been the case in all of the other ones. And then they become very indignant and self-righteous, and they say, how dare you offer thoughts and prayers? How dare you suggest that we take a moment and pray because of this horrible tragedy? And they themselves don't offer anything else. And then maybe some of them, the more radical of them, will say, well, we just need to get rid of the Second Amendment. If that's the impediment, we need to get rid of the Second Amendment. And even if one were to think that was a good idea, I don't think that's a good idea, but even if one were to think that's a good idea, it's not practicable at all. It would start a civil war. So they're not offering any solutions. They're just jumping up and down at the very moment of a tragedy, of a really unthinkable tragedy, to push their same old tired political agenda. And you'll see it a little bit too. Conservatives then will become very, very reflexively defensive, and they'll look in and say, well, was this guy an illegal alien, or was his parents illegal aliens, or was it an illegal gun? And they'll try to get all of the facts to score their political points too, obviously in much less so and in a much more defensive posture than you're seeing from the left. But the whole thing is just so sickening. It's so absolutely repulsive that I would just suggest you don't need a take. You don't need a take. You don't. And everyone talks about thoughts and prayers. And on the left, they dismiss thoughts and prayers. They themselves offer their own thoughts immediately. They never stop offering their own thoughts or whatever even resembles a thought to them. No prayers, just I would recommend just prayer. Prayer is pretty good. It's the most efficacious thing that anyone is suggesting. It is the classy thing to do. It is the civilized thing to do. You don't need to jump the very second that a really unthinkable, haunting tragedy occurs. You don't need to jump that very second to push your political agenda, or frankly, even to push back against someone else's political agenda, or to find all the statistics, or to find all the right facts and to say, boom, see, owned, debunked, got it. You don't have to. It is so classless. It is so inhuman. It is so uncivilized. Bad things can just happen, and you can just feel sad about that, and you can just pray, because none of your posturing. You might observe that none of the posturing, the proposals that come out, would have stopped this. That can be debated later on. What is certain is none of your posturing is going to bring the dead kids back. It's not going to do that. The only thing you can do is pray. That could even possibly have any effect. So maybe just do that. Maybe that's fine. It's so, I almost can't look at Twitter right now. I almost can't look because, and it's not, it is being driven by the left. It's not only the left, but it obviously is being driven by the left. And it's so crass and vulgar and so disgusting. Just don't have to do it. This is common sense. This would have been considered common sense, common courtesy, common class not that long ago. But we've lost all sense of that, all sense of decorum. Maybe people weren't raised right. Maybe they just don't get raised right anymore. I guess that ties into the education issue. People aren't really raised right. Have some class, have some manners, have some common sense. I'm so glad you liked that clip. Now, hold up, stop, ring the bell, ding, dong, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. Get the notifications for The Michael Knowles Show. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe over there. Leave a 25-star review. We'll see you next time.